Hello and welcome to one of the greatest spectacles in 10-pin bowling, the 888.com Weber Cup, Season 14 at the Barnsley Metrodome. Yes, it is what they call the Ryder Cup of 10-pin bowling. It's always a terrific atmosphere here in Barnsley. Last year, the USA won by a record margin, so Europe have a lot to prove. They've made a slight change to their team. This is how they line up.
Team Europe return with a fresh look, a new captain and a new player as they attempt to revenge their defeat last year. This year's new captain is the Moose, Mika Koivuniemi from Finland, who is arguably the greatest European bowler. He has a bowling title in 20 different countries.
I think we just need to go and fight and take that win and show them how good we are.
Dominic Barrett is one of England's leading bowlers. He has an impressive array of results, including PBA and EBT titles. He was inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame in 2013.
I think we're a lot more up for this year, a lot more competitive. We've all made sure we're in great form going into this, and we're going to have nothing left on the line when it comes out of this event. We're going to give everything.
This is Stuart Williams' second year at the Weber Cup. Williams has 6 ETBF titles and became the first English player to win a PBA title at the end of 2011.
It was embarrassing last year, and we want them to feel like we felt last year. So yeah, we want to put them down.
Martin Larsson from Sweden is ranked European #1. His latest win was at the Storm 9th San Marino Open. He returns to the Weber Cup for his second time. He was part of a winning team in 2009.
We have a really good team, and of course the US guys are good too, and they come in with the 2 last years victory. So of course they think they're going to walk away with this one too, but we want something else. We're going to stop them for sure.
The USA team remains unchanged as they return to defend their title. The captain Chris Barnes makes his 8th consecutive appearance. With 14 PBA titles and earnings in excess of $2 million, he is unarguably the greatest player the sport has ever seen.
We always want to win. There's no lack of desire with our team. We're a highly competitive team, whether for medals, for tour titles, for pride. All of that's plenty for us to put everything we have out on the line every time we play.
Mike Fagan returns for his 3rd consecutive year. Known for his high backswing, he has won the USBC Masters, his first major title, and narrowly missed out on a 2nd consecutive major at the US Open.
We want to make sure that we retain the Weber Cup. We want to show the Europeans, we want to show the world that we have the best team in the world.
Tommy Jones is known for his vocal attitude on the lane. He holds the record for the shortest time to win 10 PBA titles. Nicknamed Mr. 300, he has rolled the perfect game 3 times on this single lane.
When you put on the colors for your country, you never want to disappoint your country, you never want to disappoint your teammates, and it's just something that means a lot to us. And it's not any different this year.
Like Fagan, Bill O'Neill returns to the USA lineup for his 3rd consecutive year. The real deal has 4 PBA titles and 1 major championship win.
I don't think there's any pressure to win the 3rd title in a row. It's just the pressure to win, period. It doesn't matter who we'd be bowling against, this year. They have a little bit different team. That doesn't matter. We just want to win, and no matter if it's the 3rd title in a row or the 100th title in a row, we want to win.
Well, it's 2 very evenly matched teams. This is what we've got to look forward to over the next couple of days. The Weber Cup is the best of 33 matches played over 5 sessions. A point is awarded for a win, so the first team to a tally of 17 points are champions. The matches are a combination of singles, doubles and the Baker, which is when all 4 members of the team take to the lane. To make things even more interesting, there's also the captain's pick, which is a singles match where the 2 bowlers are picked by the opposing team captain. Rest assured that captain's pick will provide real drama a little bit later on. But this is an event with a proud history. Let's remind ourselves of what's happened over the years. Well, the Weber Cup pits Europe's elite against the best from America. It began in Poland in 2000, and the USA won the first 3 tournaments, including the first by an 18-11 margin, the joint biggest win by either side. But Europe fought back and won the competition for the first time in 2003, and then repeated that with further successes in 2004 and 2005. The Americans reclaimed the trophy in 2006 in dramatic fashion as they fought back from 16-14 behind. Further USA wins followed in 2007 and 08, but the Europeans tasted glory again as they won in 2009 and 2010. Europe went for a hat-trick of wins in 2011, but the Americans had other plans. It was another tightly fought contest. Team Europe raced into an early lead, but Team USA dug deep, showing desire and determination to overturn the deficit and win by 2 points, and they retained that title in 2012 with a 17-7 scoreline. Can they repeat the feat, or is it Team Europe's time to lift the trophy? And let's have a look at what we've got to look forward to over the next session. We start off with the team match, the Baker match, and that is always guaranteed excitement as Europe and USA go head-to-head in a few moments' time. Then, this is how the captains have lined up their charges, and look at that first match. Dominic Barrett, who has so often been the hero of Team Europe, up against Superman, the captain of Team USA, Chris Barnes. Right then, time to meet the teams for our first match. Ladies and gentlemen, a big warm welcome for Team Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, the defending champions, Team USA. Now let's hand you over to our commentators, Cass Edwards and Andy Bodfish.
Here we go again. The race to win the 14th Weber Cup starts here. Europe against the USA, the top four 10-pin bowlers from each. It's the first to 17 points at the Mouth Waters. By the way, the drama over these 5 3-hour sessions will build. Handshakes completed. Weber Cup 14 gets underway with the traditional Baker match. Europe to throw first.
Yes, and it's the captain of Team Europe, Mika Koivuniemen, the new captain, who's going to roll the first ball of this 2013 tournament. And that's really the way to start. What a great looking shot. All these guys have had a little bit of practice, but Mika certainly lined up.
That's what Team Europe needed. It is, of course, a new dynamic this year with no Oscar Palermo. Mika installed as captain, and that is the best possible start.
Mike Fagan, also the king of swing, opening with a strike for Team USA. So with one frame each, we're all level. How about that?
Hitting the ground running. Both teams here in this Weber Cup competition. So much to look forward to.
Andy, one interesting aspect this year, there is no left-handed players. All 8 players will be playing down the right-hand side of the lane, which could cause traffic problems a bit later on as the balls move the lane oil further down, affecting the break point further down the lane. And there you can see Dom Barrett just ringing a 10-pin off the 1-3 pocket hit. Just went a fraction wide, and that 6-pin jumped around the 10, hit it, just made it wobble a little bit.
Thought about it, didn't it?
Of course, the concept of the Baker format is that all 4 players in both teams are on show. The lead-off man and the number 2 man will bowl frames 1 and 2, obviously, and then frames 5 and 6 and frames 9 and 10. So it's the important thing to do is to get the lead-off man and the number 2 man, your natural strike makers, get them in the first position, get some strikes on the board, and hope that they can finish as well as they started in the 9th and 10th frame.
Here comes Tommy Jones.
Well, we all know about TJ, Mr. 300, some people call him. because he has had 300 games maximum.
Not happy with that, was he? The head pin very square.
Yeah, just crossed a bit. Didn't make the pocket. He's playing further, deeper inside than the other players who are out on the right hand side, and he's just crossed the head pin there. Leaves the 3 and the 10, the small split. Now the ball will go between these two pins, so it is very much a makeable spare. Oh, well, he hit the 10 pin, but it didn't go. So it's the first open frame for Team USA in frame number 2. And Jones will not be happy with that one. Hard and straight. He tried to take it on the outside by chipping that 3 pin across. It certainly hit the 10, look at that. But it refuses to go.
That's why the Baker is such an interesting way to open up these sessions at the Weber Cup. Everyone involved. That's more like it for Europe. A strike for Larsson.
Always good to get off with a strike on your very first shot. It's not the first time that Larsson's played in the Weber Cup. It's been a couple of years, and that was a great opening shot for him.
2009 was the Swede Larsson's debut. United States responding in kind.
Yeah, it was the real deal. Bill O'Neill, as he's known. Just ripping the rack there for his opening shot in frame 3. The USA have got some work to do already, because they've got that open frame in frame number 2, and already you can see the difference in the maximum scores. USA on 268 if they can strike out, and Europe on 280. So that just gives a guide as it stands on the score sheet, and double time for Team Europe as Stu Williams rips the rack.
That was clean from Stu Williams there.
Yeah, showing some of the form that he showed. He's the first Englishman ever to win a PBA title on the American Tour. Happened a couple of years ago, and it was a great breakthrough there for UK bowling with Stu Williams.
Chris Barnes. We've seen so much of that from Barnes down the years here at the Metrodome. Man with 3 career majors to his name. All set up nicely in this opening Baker Weber Cup 14.
And we're back with the lead-off man, the Euro captain Mika Koivuniemi. Striking frame 1. We'll be looking to repeat that.
Done so. So far, so good for the Moose, and there it is.
Yeah, the traditional Moose sign from some of his fans. He's also known as Major Mika, sometimes the Flying Finn. But this is a great looking shot. Gets some really good length on the lane, makes the 1-3 pocket, carries all 10, and it's 3 strikes in a row for Team Europe. Back with Mike Fagan, Team USA's lead-off man, working with a strike.
Got it.
Well, they certainly make it look easy, don't they, Andy? Strikes galore at the moment, and that's 3 in a row for Team USA. They still trail, though, because they've had that one open frame from Tommy Jones in frame number 2.
Don Barrett won 2 of Europe's points last year. A couple of victories in the singles.
Well, the nice thing we like to say about Don Barrett, Andy, is that he's the #1 player in Europe and has been for the last 3 years, and is at this very moment top of the European Tour rankings, likely to make it 4 years in a row.
And bringing that form along with him as well, isn't he?
As I say, with strikes like that, he really is on form. Had a big win in the Netherlands a couple of weeks ago on the European Tour, so his form is hot.
Semi-finalist in Vienna last week, an event won by Mika Koivuniemi.
Yes, indeed, that's great news for the European side. 2 winners in a couple of weeks on the European Tour, so form is good. We're not quite sure about some of the Team USA players, although they have been playing in Europe just prior to this tournament. Jones doesn't make the pocket for the second time, leaves the 4-pin standing.
Furious with himself as well.
Yeah, deep inside. There's a lot of rotation and the ball just drifts too wide on the lane. Oh, look at that. Very, very light on the head pin and is lucky to take 9 pins out. This should be a straightforward spare, but spares are not what Team USA need.
Europe very much in the ascendancy in this opening Baker game.
Yeah, we're moving into the second half of this opening game. Martin Larsson, strike on his first shot, strike on his second shot. How about that?
Now, Europe won't be getting too excited this early, but so far, so good.
Well, I'm getting quite excited so far. 5 strikes in a row and a great looking shot there from Larsson. Keeps Team Europe on for a potential 280 game. Well, they're making it look easy, aren't they, Andy?
That's what these guys do. That's why they're here. It's a low scorer to begin last year's Weber Cup. USA won the opening Baker 197, which beat 184.
Crikey, that was low, wasn't it? Compared with this game, the opener so far, both are going to sour through the 200 barrier. Stu Williams striking the 4th. Can he strike in the 8th? Oh no, it's high through the head pin. It was a tight looking shot. Just inside his mark. He's left the 3, the 6 and the 10, which is a makeable spare for him.
That's ended the European run of strikes.
Yeah, hard and straight. This one should go. Needs to cover that first pin, the 3 pin. Does it nicely.
Never in doubt.
But it's only a spare.
Yeah, it brings Europe's maximum down to 257.
Chris Barnes, the US captain. You'll notice on his right arm he's got a compression sleeve or stocking. The latest bowler's accessory. Apparently it aids blood flow to the fingers.
Through he goes. That's a strike for Barnes, another.
Well, it certainly worked that time, didn't it? So that's 2 strikes for Barnes. That accessory must be working.
Always looks so relaxed, doesn't he?
Well, it's a tight game and we're coming down now to the foundation frame. Just 10 pins in it as it stands. And they're the maximum scores if both teams can strike off. Time for the European captain to bowl his 3rd frame. It's frame 9.
Got it. Like that one, Mika. That is the majority of the crowd inside the Metrodome.
Well, Mika's bowled 3 frames. He's bowled 3 strikes. No wonder he's looking so happy. And it's high fives all round from the European boys. And look at this shot. The traditional loft from Mika Koivuniemi. Sends it a little bit wide, gets the reaction in the back end, and he's very happy. It's almost a must-strike situation here for Mike Fagan. Well, you can see how long that ball went, didn't you? It only just made the hip, and it just sailed wide and just kept going longer and longer. Fortunate just to leave the 2-pin standing, and this is way wide of the mark. It's going to be a makeable spare.
Yeah, that was never in doubt. And players on both sides here just learning about the oil. Difficult to open out here and get the run of the lane. Single lane setup inside the Barnsley Metrodome. Not something they're necessarily used to throughout the course of the year, playing on either sides of the Atlantic. But it is a different type of situation, different pressure inside the Barnsley Metrodome.
Well, and you can see the scores. It's 31 pins difference going into frame 10. And with Dom Barrett up, one would hope that he's just going to fill this 10th frame and make it impossible for Team USA to come back.
Straight through.
That's going to be the one, that's going to be the victory, and don't they know it? High fives all round. Great looking shot from Dom Barrett.
And they've risen to the challenge here, Europe. The need to start well after the disaster of last year, the last day last year. Yeah, Dom enjoyed that.
Yes, it was certainly was the winning ball. He's just going to tidy up now. In grand style, as only Dom can do.
Got his eye in, and those strike placards are raised again.
Yeah, they sail through the 250 barrier for the opening game. Strike here for 257, and the victory. And as we all know, Dom's friends and family are here. They call them the Domination. Regulars at the Weber Cup.
Oh yes, Dom Barrett. This is terrific for Europe because he's up first in the singles as well. Finding some momentum.
Yeah, first blood to Team Europe. And it's Tommy Jones who hasn't hit a strike yet, but I wouldn't put it past him, this event, to actually hit quite a few. Well, there's his first one. Takes Team USA through the 200 barrier.
More like it.
Yeah, just a little bit of practice there, just to keep yourself, get your eye in for when you're up for the singles. One more shot left in the 10th frame. Strike for 226. It's a good opener, but not good enough. Team Europe rampant.
He's able to strike there, but Europe will claim this opening Baker game in the Weber Cup 2013. Great start for them, exactly what they needed. So, Team Europe off the mark in Weber Cup 14, ahead of the singles in the opening session. Dom Barrett looking to take some of that momentum through as he opens up against Chris Barnes. Mika Koivuniemi, Europe's captain, next up against Tommy Jones. Martin Larsson follows against Mike Fagan, Stu Williams, Bill O'Neill, and then it's the match between the two captains' picks. Tony Wrighton is speaking with Mika.
Thanks very much indeed, Mika. What a start for you. How important was it to get a decent start in this Weber Cup?
It was really important for us to get a great start, but we need to keep going. We need more wins early and put some pressure on Team US.
You've had so many glorious days and nights here in Barnsley, but last year didn't go your way. How much did it hurt being beaten by that big margin last year?
It's always hurting when you're losing, but getting beaten that bad, it's make you think more and make you work harder, and we get a great start and we need to keep up.
It is a fantastic start. Congratulations. One other change this year. You've started wearing glasses while you play. You've still got the Moose sign and everything, but how have the glasses, because I know you made that change in the last 12 months.
Yeah, like month after the Weber Cup last year, I started wearing glasses while I'm bowling, and I won first 2 tournaments, so I keep wearing them.
So the USA need to look out. Well done, ladies and gentlemen, the Europe captain, Mika Koivuniemi. Mika, thanks very much indeed. We'll come back after the break with our first singles match of this Weber Cup. Welcome back. 10-pin fans have flocked to Barnsley to see Team Europe and Team USA go head-to-head for another sensational Weber Cup. And after the Americans won last year with a record-breaking scoreline, Europe now have a point to prove. Before the break, we saw the first match, the Baker, and it was Team Europe who came out on top, taking the first win.
Next up, we have the first singles match between Dominic Barrett and USA's team captain Chris Barnes. Before the event got underway, we caught up with Superman to find out a bit more about this formidable bowler.
My dad took me bowling when I was first 6 years old. It was always the other sport. So it was baseball season and I bowled, and then football season I bowled, and basketball and I bowled. So I bowled year round, but it was always kind of the other sport until I got to college. And then went from there to the national team and then to the tour. The last crowning achievement for me would be to win the Masters. And at that point I would have all 4 majors. This is my 8th year with the Weber Cup, and we had three early wins. And then there's been some relatively close matches. And then we got blown out a few years ago, and that we had revamped our team, and I think it refocused us a little bit. We took it for granted that we were just going to come in and not have such a tough time, and well, we've come in much more serious and much more prepared the last few years, and I think it showed. We always want to win. We're a highly competitive team for medals, for tour titles, for pride. All of that's plenty for us to put everything we have out on the line every time we play.
Time for our first singles match. Representing Europe, it's Dom Barrett. And now representing Team USA, their captain, they call him Superman, it's Chris Barnes. Over to your commentators. It is Cass Edwards and Andy Bolfish.
So, the first of 4 singles matches already allocated, already arranged before the famous captain's picks at the end of this first session in the Weber Cup. Chris Barnes, American skipper, 8th participation for him. 3 singles matches last year, 3 victories. Clean through and opens with a strike.
Yeah, can't ask for any better than that. Strikes like that early on do help you to relax a little bit, not that this man really needs that. One of the most experienced players on the American and World Tour. Stopped off at Vienna on the way to the Weber Cup here and had a pretty good tournament at one of the events on the European Tour.
Where Dom was a semi-finalist. Oh, left the 10 standing. He won't be happy with that.
Yeah, slightly different line he played than in the Baker game. Certainly a lot tighter, different angle. Gets out to that break point on about the 10th board and rips back to the pocket. But there you can see that single pin's laid flat in the gutter, leaving the 10 pin defiant to the end until the spare ball gets it. Yeah, Dom just having a look at his feet there. Maybe he got stuck a little bit on the approach. Maybe some of the lane conditioning oil has come back and he's got it on his feet, but a spare to start is not too bad.
Another strike for Barnes. 2 in a row.
Yeah, the perfect way to go, isn't it? Spare for Dom and double time for Chris Barnes. So he gets out to about 42 feet and that ball just hooks back. Trips the 4 pin in the end, but it's good enough for 2 strikes in a row. It's bonus time. It puts pressure right back on Dominic Barrett.
Responds in kind there. Yeah. Strike for Dom. Europe wanted and needed it.
Yeah, great looking shot. Much better. Chris Barnes, man in form. Went to the World 10-Pin Bowling Association World Championships in Las Vegas back in July. Won a couple of gold medals in the doubles and the all events. Picked up a couple of silver medals as well. So is he on top of the world, on top of his game? Very much so.
And that's his Turkey, 3 in a row.
Yes, and they all looked pretty good, didn't they? So he's really lined up on this with his lane dressing. 39 feet of oil, 21 feet of back end. That's the dry part of the lane, where the ball reacts with the lane and the rotation put on the ball by the bowler, and makes it hook up in, hopefully, into the 1-3 pocket for the right-handers. That's the centre pin and the one just to the right of it. The perfect place for a right-hander's strike.
That's where Dom hopes this one's heading. Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much just like that, and the European captain's very happy. Couple of strikes in a row for Dom. Mika's going to be up next, and here we see the slow motion replay. Just hitting that down the lane marker, that brown board that you can see. That's where Dom is wanting his ball. That's his guide. It just turns up nicely to the pocket.
Opened up with 3 strikes, Barnes, and there is another.
Yeah, great looking shot from Chris Barnes. You saw the cupped wrist that he's got before he releases that bowling ball. And as that wrist opens up, it puts rotation on the ball that reacts with the lane in the back end. So he's looking pretty cool, but who wouldn't with 4 strikes to start with?
Well, whether he or his team are in the ascendancy or struggling, just takes it all in his stride, does Barnes. But he's laying the gauntlet down here for Dom Barrett. Well, that's 3 in a row for Dom. He's hanging on the coattails here of Barnes. And Mika Koivuniemi there, who's already replete with enough nicknames. Might be another one added. The Professor. Looks very studious, doesn't he?
With those new spectacles,
yeah.
Yes. Just come off of a huge win on the European Tour in Vienna. Barnes now looking for a 5-bagger.
Oh, yes.
Repetition is very much part of this game, as sounds a bit obvious, I know, but Chris looking very relaxed. He's got his line. He's got the rotation perfect. The speed is perfect. And so is the reaction in the back end. Sets up that chain reaction. These guys are not actually playing one another in theory. They're playing the lane. If they can beat the lane, overcome it, then they should be able to shoot scores big enough to beat their opponent. So it's the lane they're after, and Chris doesn't really like that one, but he's going to carry 10 pins anyway, whether his footwork was good or not.
Well, it gets to this sort of time and you start wondering, you start dreaming. Well, some of us do.
I'm not even going to go there. Chris has got 6 strikes in a row. He's, well, we're going to say locked and loaded. He's now going to start concentrating because he thinks, well, I've got this lane virtually beaten. Let's see how far we can go. And if we can take the scalp of Dom Barrett at the same time, it's a point for Team USA.
Oh, he's really hit the groove now, Dom.
Yeah, he goes 5 strikes in a row. It's just showing you the style and the expertise of these players, that when they get on a lane in a tournament that really, really suits their style and they get loaded, they can just hit strike after strike. And this is why maximum games do occur. Just have to hope that you can get a lane that suits you. This lane has not been dressed since the Baker match earlier on. So some oil has been moved around. Yeah, just trying to get settled there with those feet. Nice shoes, Chris. That's a classic 5-step approach up to the line.
Is it another? Yes, it is.
Wow.
Oh, wow. An early treat in this opening session. of the Weber Cup. It's Chris Barnes, and he is flying.
Yes, 7 in a row for Superman. He's certainly acting like Superman at the moment. I don't know if he's got any telephone boxes to turn around and change in, but he's got lots of room to go on the score sheet. He needs, dare I say it, another 5 strikes in a row. And he'll raise the roof here at Weber Cup 14.
Here comes Dom. Oh. Well, the run ends for Dom Barrett. And are we seeing, well, the USA's first point?
Well, it's early doors yet, but good shots like that leave the 10-pin unexplainably are likely the loser, the match loser. I mean, it was a good shot, and normally you would accept a spare, but not good enough, I'm afraid, and that could well let Chris Barnes in. And you can see the difference in the scores. Chris is still on the maximum, and Dominic can only hit 269 thanks to those 2 single-pin spares.
Barnes, perfect so far. It's frame 8. There he goes once again, Cass. Ah, what terrific form from Chris Barnes straight away here.
I've seen quite a few 300 games rolled in my 40-odd years in this sport, but it's always nice to see another one, and it's always nice to see one on television. Now, Chris Barnes has actually bowled a 300 game on television in the United States, one of the 20-odd that has actually happened. But you can see the concentration on his face now. He's in the mood, getting into the mode.
That's a strike for Dom.
Let's take nothing away from Dom Barrett. He's bowled a really good game here so far. He's had 2 single pin spares, which could well have been strikes, and he too could have actually been on 8 strikes in a row.
Yeah, this is where Chris starts to think about things a little more, and this is where keeping composed gets you through, I would imagine, Cass. So you've seen a few perfect games in your time. I think you're being modest, you've rolled a few as well.
Yeah, not as many as this man, though. Chris has just taken a re-rack, which he's allowed to do. He wasn't happy with the setup of the pin, so he's asked for a fresh deck, which has been now set up. So he's just gathering himself for this really important shot in the foundation frame. It's frame number 9.
Perfect so far, still perfect. He likes it.
I love it. It's just fantastic. That's 9 strikes in a row. A classic style of probably the #1 player in the world. Ripping the rack, 9 strikes in a row. And the next time he stands up, it will be the 10th frame, and he will be bowling, hopefully, for a 300 game. We can talk about it now. He's got this far, and wouldn't this be great? Kind of unfortunate that Dom Barrett has almost been a spectator in this game, although he really has bowled well. And there's another strike for him. He's still pacing 260 odd. But here we have Chris Barnes, the Team USA captain, as hot as you like. 9 strikes in a row. Everybody's holding their breath.
Dom's 269, already a score that would have comfortably won a good handful of singles matches last year, and will no doubt be a score sufficient to do the same this year. But right now, it is all about Chris Barnes. Oh, he gave it a look, but they all tumbled, and this is on.
He's got a big smile on his face. This was slightly fortunate, but it's the 10th frame. And look how light that is on the head pin. And he's got some mix. The 5-pin was the last to go. And this is so important for him.
He stared it down, didn't he? He stared that down.
1 down, 2 to go. Come on, Chris, make this a good one.
Can he do it? Oh. We're 1 bowl away. Tommy Jones has done it 3 times here at the Metrodome. Paul Moore back in 2006 broke the mould. But now it is Chris Barnes, the daddy of this United States team, with a chance to write his name in Weber Cup history, to add another chapter.
Just gathering his thoughts. One look at the pins down the far end. A nice deep breath. He's got 11 strikes in a row behind him. This for 300.
It's Chris Barnes. Is it a perfect game? Yes, it is! What a start to this Weber Cup. In the opening singles match, there is a standing ovation for Chris Barnes. He was perfect there. He was brilliant. Chris Barnes with a perfect game.
Superman rules, Superman smiles. This is the final shot. He's laid it out. He's hit his mark. The speed's good, the rotation is good, and the chain reaction in the back end is just fantastic. 12 great strikes, and look at the body reaction there. Everybody just loves this man and his bowling.
Paul Moore, Tommy Jones, and now Chris Barnes. Perfect men at the Weber Cup. Chris Barnes with that perfect game levels up Weber Cup 14. It is 1-1. Barnes has got his breath back, hopefully, in order to speak to Tony.
Chris, many congratulations. You've just written your name into the Weber Cup history books. How does it feel?
It feels like I have about 6 less than Tommy does on this lane, actually. But yeah, it's a great feeling. We knew Dom got lined up at the end in the Baker match, and we figured it would take a big game to get there. And a couple lucky breaks changed that match completely.
I mean, it is such a hard thing to do. We often, you know, if you don't often watch 10-pin on TV, we might say it's like a 147 in snooker or a 9-darter in darts. You know what those things are, don't you?
I've heard of them.
But this is tough, and it's just a real treat for everyone in Barnsley to watch. And did you feel like you had it in you?
I wouldn't have guessed before the match started. I would have thought Dom could get to 250, which didn't surprise me at all, but 230 was closer to what I thought was what I was capable of.
And you're now part of Weber Cup history so early in this tournament. What does it mean for the rest of the weekend?
Well, really, it means we're 1-1, and I'm lined up, and I probably won't be a captain's pick later. That's mostly what it means right now. But, you know, we don't want to get down too far early. They bowled great in the Baker match. All of them were lined up, so we couldn't afford to get down 0-2 and put a lot of pressure. We got our best guy coming up next, but you know, you never want to be far behind.
And for now, surely a glass of champagne to celebrate that brilliant, brilliant performance.
Maybe a pint somewhere along the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is this year's Mr. 300, Chris Barnes. Well, they call him Superman, and Chris Barnes has served up the perfect game here in Barnsley. We'll see you next time.